Who am I? Am I a superhero with some claws? Or just an actor searching for applause? Wolverine has all the fans, but what about me, Hugh Jackman? Who am I?
To whatever phantom audience we have, welcome to 2017. We've not done this in a while, so it's a 2-for-1 special this month, financial quarter, whatever we're going with now.
Fiscal year.
I'm Richard Drumm, joined once again by Mr. Paul Farren and Scott Adair.
Hello.
So I suppose we'll start off with Lego Batman, since it's old and irrelevant anymore at this point.
In the past now, isn't it?
Daddy-o.
Best Batman film ever.
By far.
Best rendition of the Joker ever? No? Second
Maybe.
best?
No, I hadn't
No,
thought
I'd
about
say
that.
it's
but
in the
you're
top
not
3.
far off.
Yeah, I liked Zack's take on the Batman. The Joker.
Well, even more just than him, the way it was written, and kind of they got that for a kids' film, that kind of psychosexual dimension in a bit more than they've done in most live action films. Which I thought was kind of nice. Like obviously, it's Sugarcoat though. Oh, you hate me, I hate you too. But it was like the subtext was there.
So, what was your again? Should we talk about this in comparison with the other Batman films? Really, even though it did ask to be compared,
Yes,
and
did.
even called itself a sequel.
Mm-hmm. It's all the one chronology now, apparently.
I don't know how it worked as a sequel. And one
Don't
of the things,
question it.
one of the things that annoyed me, right, was just that, like, they had that one reference to the previous movie, and I'm like, all right, okay, well, we as we found out at the end of the Lego movie, is that it's on it's like the city's on a table, and all the other areas are on a table, but like you never saw Gotham City unless Gotham City was built. But I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much into it.
Are we talking about the Lego universe now? Or the Batman universe?
The Batman Lego universe, but like I think that, because in the Lego movie they had the Lego City and then they had the Wild
But they
West,
mentioned the chasm underneath.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
The
Yeah, you can see it,
smell of old clothes.
but they never did the
Like a
same
live
thing.
action bit.
Yeah, they never did.
Well, I'm
live
glad they did.
action.
I thought they were going to, and I was really happy they didn't, because we've established now this is all just like a child and father having playing, so you don't need to do it again.
It could be cool that it's just like its own self-contained thing. It's
'Cause
just
there's-
it's fun that way.
There's a second one out this year, I think. The Ninjago.
There's the Ninjago. Yeah, they had
Is
the
that a
teaser for it.
cinema?
Yeah, it's proper
That
production.
was one of my
Part of this universe.
One of my favorite throwaway jokes was the banner for Ninjago Town.
Oh yeah.
A little reference to Chinatown. I was very happy that they didn't put any humans into it. That would have. I don't think I knew early on. I said, "Nah, they're not going to go
They
there."
already spent enough on the animation; they couldn't afford any humans.
And again, there was one of the Robot Chicken guys that got on board for this. It really is a feature-length Robot Chicken episode in some ways.
Oh yeah, essentially.
Without the kind of more
Who-
violent. The director is one of the Robot Chicken animators.
Cool.
And now he's doing the Nightwing movie.
Is that why Seth Green? No, it wasn't Seth. Not Seth. Is it Seth Green?
He's the main one, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget the
He's
guy's
one of
Did
the
he voice
creators.
anyone? Did
Don't
he
give me-
voice
ask me
anyone?
names. He didn't do any voices that I know.
Because that's weird. Because like the same guys who voiced the Justice League came back and did it. Like
Jonah Hill was back, and
he was Green Lantern.
Channing
wasn't he?
Tatum.
big
Yeah.
bulky
Channing
Shannon.
Tatum was Superman.
Yeah.
And who was the Flash?
I can't remember. That annoyed me, how little they were in it. I thought from the trailer there'd
I
be
thought
like
they were
at
going
least
to be
one bit when they all show up, but no, it's like a throwaway guy.
they'd all kind of show up at the end
Yeah.
because they had that running down the hallway scene and stuff. And I was like, oh, they're going to take on the Joker and it's going to be awesome.
Because it was bizarre that in the end, like I assumed in the middle when they make that gag about what am I going to do, like make a team of villains? That's stupid. Good Suicide Squad jive. Like no, that's the plot of this movie. Oh, that's confusing. Because that was a waste. I thought Justice League. Admittedly, I did love that joke of his doorbell being like the really slow version of John Williams' theme, and there's like this sad look on his face that played the whole way through.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it's the Palace, Fortress of Solitude, and hits the door with it.
That's right.
It's really slow.
Oh, sorry, it's Superman's place, yeah. I did like that joke that Batman was the least liked of all the DC superheroes.
But that was the genius thing about it. The jumping off point for the film is that everyone's sick of Batman, like, including the audience, and that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
But he still gets his own movie and
Oh,
he's
of
the
course
star of
he
it.
does.
Like,
And I loved why he got involved with Robin as well, just so he could use him for that little bit of theft.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like psychopathic.
I'm definitely going to adopt this child so he can steal stuff from me.
What did you think of Ralph Fiennes' Butler?
Great
Ralph
Alfred.
Fiennes?
Alfred.
Oh my god! I forgot who voiced him. I'm usually really good at picking up who voices like animated characters, but I didn't.
Well,
catch that at
a
all.
goofy bit of trivia for you. he was in that, and he didn't even voice Voldemort.
Yeah, I know, because everyone was like, "Oh, Ralph Fiennes is voicing someone." I was like, and then when Voldemort was in it, I was like, "That wasn't him." And I was like, "Oh, it must have been a joke."
It must have been some copyright issues.
I thought maybe just
it's Warner Brothers.
It's all Warner stuff. Yeah, I thought it was fun. The joke I was worried the joke wasn't going to stick, but I think the opening kind of really set it up nicely. And all the introduction of I love the what was the Googleable condiment man?
Yeah,
condiment man. Yeah. Which is that's a real one, by the way.
No, I know. Yeah, that was something that I didn't have any doubt believing though. I mean, if you look at the 70s super villains, they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
I think he's a 90s one though, isn't he, Condiment Man? Because didn't he or Condiment King? Didn't he come from the animated series?
Oh, I can't remember. I just there's so
many. He's
a
piss take in the animated series, so it's not really a real villain to start with.
Yeah, but you don't think that he was created in the first place seriously?
No, but
it's like saying that Kirby and Lee, all those years ago when they were creating Nick Fury's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., didn't have a sense of humour about it. They were doing all those Minion style jokes way before they were made re-fashionable.
But wasn't the point of Nick Fury that Stan Lee said, "I bet I can pitch a comic called The Howling Commandos and get it commissioned," and then he had to do it. Wasn't that the joke? Because it wasn't actually meant to be a real comic.
They're like, "We want this."
Yeah, I'm going to pitch something with the stupidest name possible, and I'll pick it up.
Well, there was the Howling Commandos, and then there was Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't forget.
Okay, well, the Nick Furies and the Howling Commandos, their book had the two names in it. Was the guy.
See, it's a bit more complicated than that now, because Kirby was deep in the battle in World War II, and Nick Fury is probably a very heavily disguised version of Jack Kirby in the first place. But we won't start talking about that now.
Yeah, let's stick to Batman.
We'll get the Marvel.
So anyway, we'll agree we all like Batman. We all thought that was quite a decent movie. It hung around just long enough, and it was quite silly. The redemptive thing was almost a wonderful parody in itself.
I think there were so many elements to it. Like, it was cutesy and it was funny, but it was like for everyone. They had something for everyone. It was for adults. It was for kids. There was like little sneaky adult jokes in there. But then there was the little sing song, and I think who voiced Dick Grayson again? It was
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera, yeah. I think he did really well.
He was great.
Really good.
Yeah,
it was right because his voice,
his voice is never going to drop.
No, never. It's never but it was so cutesy.
He's nearly 30 now.
It really worked with with Dick Grayson. I thought it was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
But even the gag of having Michael Cera and Will Arnett on screen together again. Like Arrested Development, but there's Gob or George Michael.
I also love the fact that Batman saved the day after fucking up the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always very fond of that one where didn't you cause all this trouble in the first place? and those lovely games, those psychological jokes they were playing with Batman. What was it where they parked the van? Which some reference to what they wanted him to do.
That was great.
I thought Harley was underused. I thought she had great potential.
I think everyone bar Batman, Joker, and Robin were underused. Like, no one really got much. Like Bane, they made the modern online meme version of Bane, which was kind of funny, I guess, but it wasn't.
They did the Bane. They did the
Tom Hardy voice,
the Tom Hardy
or the
voice.
internet's version of Tom Hardy's voice.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny.
I was a bit disappointed in the Phantom Zone villains. I know that I thought there was other more interesting Lego.
I was glad they did that in the first place. I was really hoping they wouldn't forget that the Lego movie had that kind of openness of licenses. They could use anything, and I'm glad they did that. Like, they had just Gotham attacking like fucking Sauron, so that was ridiculous.
Well, what did we get? We got we got one that I didn't recognize. There was a big Gojira type character.
I think it was only just like a non.
It wasn't Kong, or was it? It was a big lizard thing.
No, it was not Godzilla basically.
Well, no, but he had like the kind of the sort of.
The Gremlins joke was great though. They used Gremlins properly a la Roald Dahl, actually attacking a plane. That was a fun.
Oh, I didn't thought actually, yeah.
And then what was it? The Sauron.
Sauron, yeah.
Which he should have obliterated the whole place in one fell swoop, but we won't go into the reality to that.
the Lego cross universe Lord of the Rings logic, yeah. I really liked the score actually as well. I think that was actually because it was a nice blend of Elfman and Zimmer, and it worked quite well. I thought.
I had it on in work for a while.
It's a really good score. The early tracks are really good in it. I will say I hate the song at the end. The song at the end was shite.
I think,
and I felt like they just went, well, the Lego movie had that one song that everyone loved.
Yeah.
So it's
really catchy.
Crap.
I love it.
I love it. Terrible. It was really
I can't
cringy.
remember.
So
what was it called again?
Something about best friends, was it?
Yeah, I can't remember. And then there.
Go on, sing it first, Scott. You haven't worked out time.
No.
It wasn't awesome anyway.
Mm-hmm. Decidedly not.
But it's just one of those movies where, like, when you go home, like every time I go to the movie and if it's not too late, like instead of getting a cab home, like I'll walk home with my girlfriend and we'll just we'll talk about the movie, and then after the Lego
I wish
movie,
I had a girlfriend like that.
no, like it was after, like we did it when we went to see the Lego movie originally, and when Batman was in it, obviously Batman I thought was the best part of the Lego movie, and we'd walk home, we'd be like, I'm Batman, and we both do the Batman voice until we get in and see who gets it better, and people are looking at us in the street and they're thinking that we're fucking
I
weirdos.
looked at you too.
And but this time we did it the whole way home, and we walked like from Cineworld to the Grand Canal dock, and it was just like, I'm Batman, up the keys the whole time, and then
But that Arnold voice is gold.
I'm Batman.
He's perfect. I think he's probably potentially the best Batman.
If only he actually had the look of, mind you, if he'd had that head back in 1999, or sorry, 1989, he would have beaten out Michael Keaton for Batman. I think. In fact, when you think of it, they both look quite alike.
They're goofy looking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Will Arnett, the big heads up, that voice of his is hilarious. And it's his second animated character, isn't it? Isn't BoJack?
BoJack Horseman.
Another man with kind of creepy jokes about children. I thought that was funny when he meets Barbara Gordon and he goes, "He's not my kid." That's actually even creepier. So, anything else on the Batman Lego or Lego Batman?
After they announced that what's his face was playing Two-Face, Billy Williams, I was like, oh great, they're finally giving us that sequel. But he has like one line. That's shite. That's really disappointing.
But they were cramming them in.
They were absolutely.
But what they have managed with those films, which can be really bad, is that they know how to reference and keep the energy going with the story and the humor.
But it
doesn't stop for those things.
Yeah, the joke writing is very fresh. I think it's very up to date. Is what I'm trying to say. Like they're not like everyone gets the jokes. Like in the For Everyone, they're not like that's too childish. Like I don't know.
But they're definitely again those films are designed to return to and watch at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I hope they do like a sequel. I'd love to see them do a Justice League one. I think that would be kind of fun.
Well, they probably need to after they do the live action one, and it turns out to be a piece of shit.
Like, how are we going to make our money back?
It could be okay. We don't know yet.
I've got an idea for a crossover movie where all the Lego superheroes,
like in the middle of the live action one, the Lego ones will take over and
probably
save the day.
Financial bit.
What about a Lego Zack Snyder movie?
Oh no, he'd ruin it.
Yeah, that'd be creepy.
Legos bleed.
He'd find a way.
Because I was reading Multiversity there recently, the last big thing from Grant Morrison. Did anyone hear it?
I haven't read it. I have it at home though.
And it goes into Little Batman and Little Gotham, which kind of comes.
Oh really?
Does it? It comes out of the Batmite world.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a headache to read for the first time again, because I haven't been keeping up with the DC universe in so long.
It's like when you read Deadpool and he goes into the multiverse and you're just like, there's so many different versions of Deadpool, and there's like Panda Pool, like Raccoon Pool, Duck Pool, like just T-Rex Pool and all that. What's going on?
It's all kind of robbed from the Alan Moore stuff with Tom Strong, the multiverse comic world. But again, it does go back to the golden age of the Flash. And we won't keep going on with that. We'll move on to...
Until the Flash movie comes out.
Yeah. So, are we finished now with Lego Batman?
Is there
anything else exciting to say about it?
It was good. It was very good.
It was very good indeed. I suppose before we do Logan, we could do the Deadpool teaser that played before it. Although it didn't play before here.
It didn't play in any Irish or
online,
UK cinemas. You had to see it on YouTube before you... And I was
like... But the YouTube version was a longer version. So
yeah, no, like the...
For Deadpool 2, there was like a brief little... short.
Have you seen it?
No.
All right.
It's pretty funny, actually. I'd recommend
Tell me more.
What happens, it starts off with a guy walking down a street, but it's clearly like, it's one of those like typical movie sets. You can tell it's filmed at a movie set. It's not an actual street. Like the buildings look all fake. And I don't know. I think that's maybe what they're going for. Definitely. And like there's like newspapers blowing down the street, and it's just a guy, and he's got his hood up, and it's Wade Wilson. Like he takes his hood off, and he's all scarred and stuff, and he's listening to music in his headphones. And he can hear someone getting mugged, or you can actually see someone getting mugged, isn't it? And he's just like, "Not today, motherfucker!" And he runs off instead of going to save the guy. He runs off to a phone booth and starts getting changed, like Superman. And there's
with the actual theme, the actual John Williams theme playing over it. I don't know how they got the right for that one, but
So the theme's playing, but instead of him getting changed in a flash, like he
takes a full minute and a half.
He's struggling to get his costume on. He's struggling to get his clothes off, and you can see his ass against the window of the phone booth. And in the background, you can just hear this guy getting mugged. He's like, "Please help me! Who's gonna help me?" And
That's not a new joke.
No, it's not. But it
works so well. I would have laughed my ass off if I seen this in the cinema. But like, just as he's about to get changed, he's checking his pockets and everything. He hears a gunshot, and he's like slowly looking around, and he checks his pockets. He's more frantic, and he just jumps out of the phone box. But it's the proper Superman, like slow motion running off, and then he sees the guy's dead, and he's like, "Oh Jesus!" And he's like, He's like, I shouldn't have got changed in the phone booth. He's like, I should have called 911. He's like, on my cell, and the guy's dead. So he's just talking to him. Then what's the next theme to come on? Was it American Beauty?
Oh, maybe. I can't remember.
Oh, so because it's...
And he just lies down on the guy, and he's chatting away to him. And like the guy who's been mugged, his like groceries are all on the ground. And he finds Ben and Jerry's, and he's like, "Oh, Cherry Garcia." And he's like, "You can eat that?" And he's like, "Oh, don't answer that." And he just eats it, and he's like, what else?
There's a brief Stan Lee cameo, but
at the start, Stan Lee, and he's like, what does he say?
It's a nice suit.
Oh, he's like, nice. He's like, not today, Stan Lee. I can't remember what he said. I forgot about Stan Lee because
they rolled Stan Lee in.
Mm-hmm.
In a teaser for a movie. Like, how crazy
Which
is that?
they cut out the cinema version. The Stan Lee was cut out the cinema version, bizarrely.
It's also really funny because...
So that's online, but you're saying it was on before or after
In America,
Logan?
they got it before Logan. Like, right before it started Logan, they got that.
Okay.
Funnily enough, like Stan Lee makes a cameo in the Deadpool teaser, but he doesn't make a cameo in Logan.
Well, he couldn't have. That would take away from the somber and serious tone of the piece.
Unless he's like a hobo or something,
He's dead somewhere.
Some dead Stan Lee hobo guy.
I only missed that now that you guys mentioned it. There was no. He doesn't do it in any of the Wolverine films. Does he do it in Origins? I don't think he does it.
He did do it in Origins.
I can't remember if he's in the Wolverine.
If anybody out there knows in the Phantom verse of this podcast, please tell us.
I'm gonna Google it.
He was in
if
the
I turn on
Wolverine,
my
once you don't have your phone on,
it's on. But
while he checks that out, we'll continue talking about Logan. Okay, Logan. They stole the title from Garth Ennis, wasn't it? Who did the first Logan comic set in the Wild West of a United States divided into villainies as opposed to
Old
states.
Man Logan?
Old Man Logan, yeah.
That was Mark Millar.
Was it? Oh, sorry,
Mark.
It is. It's Mark Millar because it's Frank Miller and Mark Millar.
No, it's Mark Miller.
No, he's Aor and Miller is Eeyore, so you
like,
just say Mark Millar for.
If you said Mark Millar to him, he'd fucking slap
everyone. No. Look, it's only when you're saying it by surname. You're saying Millar's comic. You
know where he's from, don't you?
Yeah,
he's from Scotland.
Yeah. So it's Mark Muller.
Yeah,
that's Northern Ireland, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of the same.
Put him the same.
But like Mark Miller.
No, I used to say Mark Miller, but just for when it's easier to say Millar.
I can just imagine with like a glass of brandy when you're saying that, Mark Millar.
I have a photo of me with him. Actually, I didn't say his name out loud.
I actually, funnily enough, just before we get into, I got Old Man Logan #1 signed.
Oh, nice.
By
Mark
good. Miller, yeah. Not by Steve McNiven, unfortunately.
I've actually been reading him lately, and he's actually I've been reading his X-Men, and it's good. Because we're going to go into that
Miller's?
now. Yeah. Miller's Ultimate X-Men. It's fun. It's 9/11 crazy.
I've heard the Ultimates are a bit hit and miss, or they kind of start off fine and they get very downhill.
Well,
very fast.
I've been reading Grant Morrison's new X-Men, and I've been comparing the two, and I prefer the Miller stuff. It's Andy Kubert's artwork. But it's interesting that Mark Miller... He's,
I'm going to call him Millar.
I would rather have seen an adaptation of his comic book with dinosaurs and
but they couldn't do the.
I know they couldn't,
rights.
but I still wanted to see it instead of James Mangold's semi-western.
Semi-western.
Well,
it's a western.
I want to. Sorry,
Have you seen the little Shane, perhaps?
Stanley is not in the Wolverine.
Is he not?
Yes.
There you go. I just wanted to interject.
I knew it, and he wasn't in this either. Yeah. So, Logan. Plot basically set in 2029, which is it's only a few years away, really, lads. Jesus. We got robot trucks, and we got a lack of mutants, and this didn't really say too much more about how terrible the world is.
Well, the world wasn't terrible.
I think it's not post right. So
it wasn't interested in that. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Like everyone said before the movie, that Old Man Logan was based off the Old Man Logan comic written by Mark Miller.
Couldn't be.
No, like they borrow the fact that it's a road trip movie.
True.
With
a debilitated former hero.
Yeah, that's pretty much you're delivering goods. That is literally the only part of that was done.
Yeah, Mangold got the credit for original idea.
Yeah, like he took
Mark Miller.
He took the
hadn't
spine.
done anything at all.
Yeah, he took the kind of like that's why Mark Millar doesn't talk about Logan actually. You know,
Well, you see, the thing is with DC, I don't know if we had this chat before about rights. The rights are much more nicely compacted with DC Warner than they are with Marvel.
because they're only with Warner
because they don't have to suffer 20. Oh no, sorry, that's 20th Century Fox, of course. But because they're so scattered in that, even I just came across some information that like Fox owns so much stuff that they're not even using, and no one can go near it.
Yeah,
I think it was what's the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy?
James Gunn. He had to swap something for Ego Living Planet.
Yeah. So and the same with this, I think, causes complications for other people.
But that's the thing. Like Marvel had to sell off a lot of their licenses and their characters to movie companies when they almost went bankrupt in the 90s. Like that's why that happened, and
that's why you see these funny covers in that now and again.
Yeah, but now when you see where Marvel are, and they getting Spider-Man was the big step, and Wolverine actually, or not Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. See, that's
one and the same.
One and the same. Yeah,
Wolverjack.
He says he would have returned as Wolverine if he was part of an Avengers movie.
Really?
Yeah, he said that would be the only case of him coming back, but it would be a new continuity. It would be a new character essentially.
Well, they're still crying up a cameo in a Deadpool movie though.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. He said it's not going to happen. Like he says, I
got a fright when I was reading there. 17 years and nine appearances of Wolverine. Went fucking hell.
Yeah.
What have I done with my life?
Yeah, well, like I Days of Future Past was brilliant. X-Men 1 was brilliant.
I like 2. I'm a fan of 2.
First Class is my favorite, I think.
Yeah, like I liked
Origin. Okay. Yeah, Apocalypse is my favorite because it's the dumbest one, but it's not a good film.
Worst Wolverine cameo.
Yes.
Makes no sense. But that's the thing as well. I felt the continuity in this wasn't really addressing the other films. I don't think Fox give a shit about continuity anymore.
No, they don't. But I think that was more James Mangold kind of going, look, if I get bogged down trying to give this a timeline, they don't make sense anyway. There's like three different split universes at this point.
Is there 3?
Yeah. Something like that. Because there's the previous timeline, there's the timeline from Days of Future Past, there's the other one from Days of Future Past. There's it's a mess.
Okay, well that's fine.
See, and they, like obviously they didn't even go into which timeline this was in because it could have been post Days of Future Past for all we know. But
I think it's meant to be loosely that one. Or a new one.
Because then the new timeline...
Well, no, it can't be because what happens in Days of Future Past when Wolverine comes back?
Everyone's fine.
He's got his bone claws. He doesn't have any adamantium in him.
No, he did. He had them back in the future. They didn't explain how he got them back, but he had them back.
He got like...
sorry. I wasn't
paying attention. They don't care.
No, they have like they X-Men Apocalypse. That's the same timeline. They're just...
No, that's a different one. This is what I mean, though. This is what James Mangold had to deal with.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because what happened, the Days of Future Past one, that was set, I don't know what year that was set in, but it was obviously the distant future.
I'm going to go home and check these bones thing out now.
Okay, no, we need to figure the timeline before we can go any further.
No, we do not.
So, right, at the start of Days of Future Past,
calm down, Richard. Let the man talk.
There's the post-apocalypse future, right, where the mutants have all been
that timeline's dead,
right?
though.
So that's gone.
That's gone.
When the Sentinels are running amok.
Yeah. So the Sentinel timeline is gone, and then the events of Days of Future Past happen in that 80s continuity, right? Okay, that all changed. And then there was the new future.
Yeah.
But what happened...
There's the McAvoy verse, and then there's the Patrick Stewart verse. They're two separate ones
pen and paper.
But because of what happened there, all the other young heroes, like, Scott Summers and all, hadn't been introduced at this point. So that it's the same, like, the if you know what I mean, like, the Washington, D.C. incident in Days of Future Past, that's the same universe that all of this is set in. Yeah. Like, that's
but not as Logan, I don't think.
I think it is.
No, I think Logan goes by the original 3 movies. Whereas the one with the younger cast, that's the split timeline now. Because
the Wolverine had he had flashbacks of stabbing Jean, so possibly, yes. So that would make sense. Like, I'm glad. I'm glad
they didn't do it either. Because look at this fucking shit show. You
don't know where you are. You don't know what you're doing.
It still doesn't explain Storm.
Shy of like a Resident Evil style opening monologue just explaining what's going on. I'm not sure what you do with this.
Okay, anyway, we got Logan and Xavier in the future. 12 years ahead, is it? Something like that.
Yeah.
So, 12 years ago. And we know that all the X-Men have been decimated. They have to have been decimated. None of them grow.
Well, it's not the X-Men. It's mutant kind in general. But there's 2 different things that happen to cause this.
Well, Caliban is one of the sources for. He helped hunt down a ton of mutants. For some reason, he's now one of the Trong.
The reason why the mutants all died out is because they genetically engineered soft drinks.
Richard E. Grant,
and
so
chocolate,
corn liquid and killed them all.
So pretty much that's
Are they doing that to kill all the Americans? Oh.
It was very subtle touch of commentary, yes.
and then obviously the mutants had died because of another reason.
Okay, and so
I think we're going full spoilers. Patrick Stewart killed them
the
all.
movie's already out. Like,
Yeah.
so Patrick Stewart, like, obviously.
So yeah, just warning everybody, there'll be spoilers in this.
Post it up on the
about,
title, like when
Logan.
it goes online. So the mutants are like, obviously in the trailers are like mutants, they're gone now. But I didn't realize. I thought like Patrick Stewart had somehow used his degenerative brain disorder in Cerebro to kill them all.
Oh, that would have made sense.
It would have made sense, but like instead they were genetically.
They were
killed
just
These
off.
are all vague discussions, and there's no solid information in
But
that
that's good
backstory.
because it leaves it
didn't
open.
please me.
It leaves it open to discussion.
Okay,
I prefer that too. They didn't explain it because it would have bogged it down more.
I think the story needed to be in the moment and not go back and have these flashbacks, which I think it was very smart storytelling. They don't do it in old westerns either. They don't have flashbacks, so I think like if they're going to follow the
no,
theme
I'm
of
always
a-
asking for flashbacks. I just don't understand a bit more about what the backstory meant to the present story.
if you sat and you listened to every single thing that was said, even on like the radio or the TV in the background, all these little things are picked up. So
Oh no, I get that.
and then your man, Richard E. Grant actually explained what happened to most of mutants
before he was very suddenly shot.
before
in
he
the
was
head.
shot in the head.
Yeah,
so like
great.
so
That was a nice joke. I am going to give you some exposition.
Here's the villain monologue. Blah blah blah. Bang.
fuck this. Shoot in your
But
head.
we were saying earlier, we were waiting for you, Scott. We were saying poor Richard E. Grant looked like he. What film am I making?
Didn't know what he was doing. I like this coat.
I'm not blaming him now, but he really was like, so X what?
The Wolverine.
Performance-wise, Stewart stole
They were
the
all
show.
great.
Oh, they were
And I think-
everyone. The girl, like she
was
played Laura Kinney. Jesus Christ.
But even just Hugh Jackman having to do all that grunting. And
I have to say,
sucking sad
Jackman
and
was the
breathing.
weakest for
You
me.
think?
And I
Oh,
don't mean
God.
as an actor. I mean as there was something in the characterization that didn't feel right for Wolverine. He was a moany bitch.
Because he has to deal with so much shit. Like,
Yeah, but he's been at it for like how many
200 years old, like,
exactly.
imagine
You
being,
think he would have got over by now, or putting that adamantium bullet in his head?
Imagine being 200 years old and having to deal with all that shit every day. Like, you'd be the most.
And you'd
moany
have
person on
a
earth.
better network for going to get drugs for Xavier as well.
But that's the thing, because everyone wants to hunt him down. Like, he's a wanted man.
I thought for someone who they want to hunt down, they were very lazy about it, weren't they? They really only came after when X-23 was an issue. The little one.
Well, maybe because they were training them to send out after the rest of the mutants. I don't know, something like that.
Well,
The
they
plan by
already had a him as well.
It's another Sentinel. Yeah, exactly.
Their genetic modification kind of clinic was pretty badly organised, wasn't it? I mean, the little bits that you saw on the phone in that kind of wonderfully
That
edited,
was so funny.
the wonderfully edited together piece by that lady.
She was very good at editing. Like, I'm not that good. Like,
yeah, it was like
Not even ending, just like happening to kind of film the escape and film these very vital details, but just not quite enough to give it all away, but enough to tease you with it.
children jumping off buildings. You
yeah,
know,
that was
where'd she
dark.
get all that footage from? Like,
birthday cakes going sideways.
where'd she
that
get all
kid's
that?
gonna commit suicide. Hang on, while I film this. No, I won't save him or help him or anything.
No, it can't be her filming it. Like, it must have been like because
A few of them, maybe,
the
yeah.
Reavers had the cameras on. She must have got the footage.
Oh, that's a
somewhere.
fair point, actually. Yeah,
Well, no, we didn't think it was a phone filming the footage. We just did the footage.
but it
of
was all
Sean
shaky though.
on
I thought it
something.
could have been all phones. I don't know.
But like she was filming certain things on her phone, but then there was other footage like the running up the stairs and the kid jumping off the building. Like that was filmed on the Reavers body cam. Like
yeah.
in the hotel scene.
Yep,
he
that's true.
notices. So
You know, the plot hole that annoys me there is that when she was like, they're building something else that's going to like beat.
why
all
didn't
this.
she just say she's
Yeah, she would have seen it. It had skin. It would have looked like Hugh Jackman.
She's
There's a
looking,
second Hugh Jackman.
she's looking
coming
for
you.
she's driving around their little Fiesta looking for the fucking Wolverine,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh yeah, by the way, they're building another one and he's going to be coming after you
Yeah.
at some point. So why? Oh, come on now, like
And he's the brain of a Frankenstein monster from 1933.
he couldn't speak. He was just like,
Couldn't do anything. I mean, that wasn't Richard E. Grant like his handler?
Yeah.
He was the only one who could talk to him.
and then when he saw it, it's yeah,
So what's this creature called? You're fine. It's all going to be good.
all well and good, 2 crumpets.
Mini Wolverine.
I feel like
He was,
Richard E.
in
Grant.
fairness, he was
I enjoyed it.
badass. Like the
I love that the only bit of futuristic stuff was the robot trucks.
And the hands.
Oh, well.
Everyone
Yeah, I
robot
like
hands.
the-
Nah,
I like the-
I just expect them in
So the-
X-Men movies anyway.
it's funny because like in the comics, like the Reavers are like almost like thinking back.
The guy has tanks for legs.
Yeah, this guy has like little tank wheels for legs, and it's so funny. Like,
but that was the only kind of Reaver technology that kind of stood out in the film.
Well, they're not genetic. They're cybernetically.
When did the Reavers come into the X-Men universe? Is it back to the Claremont days or is it later?
Possibly. I'm not sure on that timeline either. But I know that your man Donald Pierce, the main Reaver, like he is the guy who created the cybernetic Wolverine clone in the comics. I think that's the kind of they were borrowing that.
Okay.
Instead of having a genetically created clone of Wolverine, like they created the female clone, they may as well just make a bigger version of him. But in the comics, like Donald Pierce creates a cyborg Wolverine, and I'm struggling to find out what he was called. Big Frank or something like that. I don't know. But
he's got like Billy or something, isn't he? It's something really bland. It's not important. It's fine.
I'm gonna Google it anyway.
It's like Frederick or something.
But X-23 is a grown-up kind of heroine in the X-Men comics as well.
She is the only Wolverine in the comics now. She's
is he dead? Is he finally gone?
Well, he was killed.
Old man Logan is back, isn't he, from a different dimension or something?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I've read some of that.
The current continuity Wolverine was killed off in a story called The Death of Wolverine in 2014, and then.
No one told you, Richard?
A big Marvel event called Secret Wars.
I'll get some Twinkies.
Took all the characters from the Marvel Universe, put them on a planet created by Doctor Doom called Battle World, and all these different characters like Old Man Logan, like were suddenly just brought back to life. They were part of another universe, and they were all brought in. So he was the only Wolverine. There was other Wolverines in Battle World. Like there was
to upset the timeline chat we had. The Caliban in this universe is from Yorkshire. With the Caliban in Apocalypse Now is from Berlin. More
could have been a fake accent in Apocalypse. You don't know.
Yeah, he could have been like undercover or something.
I think it's weird he just didn't do the third person thing. Like I wouldn't actually mind the accent shift because that's Caliban's whole thing is third person referring to himself.
But it was a Stephen Merchant.
It was a Stephen Merchant. He was really good. Like it was a good Stephen Merchant performance.
Oh, sorry.
I could always expect Ricky Gervais to turn up.
He was called the Wolverine robot clone was called Albert. Frank. Albert. I was close. Like.
So again, the Western sensibilities that we talked about, that everyone reviewers have been banging on about, did that work for you guys? To me, it's a road movie.
Oh, I was hard the whole time. That was just I was.
I saw you at the screen actually.
Yeah, like, I had a little boner the whole time. I couldn't get up.
Your popcorn was higher than everybody else's.
I did. I was so like. We just ran from work to go to the screening and
popped his corn.
We were all over the place.
Quite.
Everyone was like really excited. So we are like most of our group all sat together from work, and a few friends of mine came as well. I got tickets for. I pretty much my mouth was open the whole time, and I'm just like my friend, my coworker to left of me was actually on a date with a girl, and my girlfriend couldn't come, so I'm like, I had no one else to talk to.
So you grabbed his girlfriend?
I'm grabbing him, and I'm like, look at this. Oh, like, can you see this? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? And he's like, yes, I am. I'm watching the same thing as you are. But I'm like, you don't understand. I'm shaking his hand every time something happens. I'm like, oh, there's Caliban. Oh, I didn't realize he was friends with Wolverine. I didn't think.
I never had anyone like that with my son, and he hates if you say anything to him during the movie. So I couldn't.
I'm saying, I'm just be quiet, sit down.
I'm just kind of like, I'm jumping out of my seat.
I enjoy this internally.
I'm jumping, I'm swearing, I'm looking around. I'm looking for people behind me to see if they're feeling the same emotions as I am, like except for the part.
Well, it was a pretty wound up preview. I mean, when Xavier said the F word, they all got terribly excited.
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" They're like, "He's saying bad words. Holy shit!"
Yeah, it was a bit sad. I loved Stewart in it. I thought his performance was great, and I wasn't happy the way they got rid of him in the movie. I thought he deserved a better death scene than that.
Well, the last time around Wolverine, he exploded.
I got the irony on right, but it was. I
like that it was a quiet death though, because he exploded the last time.
Yeah, exactly.
This was better, I think.
Think about the whole scene
in X-Men 3. He explodes.
Yeah, but then he comes back after.
I know. That's what I mean. There's no weight to these deaths because it's
back in the
Wolverine,
doesn't he? He doesn't come back in the after credits for.
Oh, he does. Oh, yeah. I remember, like a post credit.
He ends up in someone else's body and
Moira.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that. Like.
Conveniently, another paralyzed person, apparently.
But think about
robbing bodies left, right, and centre. His son Proteus can do that as well. You see.
You mean Legion?
But
yeah, he's also knows Proteus.
Everyone should watch Legion. It's really good. Yeah, it's better than this movie was.
So you weren't too happy with the over emphasized a scene where they're watching Shane on the television?
No, because anytime a film does that kind of thing where they...
Let's explain who Shane is to the ones that
it.
don't know. It's a very iconic Western. Not my favourite Western by any stretch, but it's the big Western of the good guy meets the bad guy. It's the gunfighter who doesn't want to put on his guns anymore, and he has to go and save the day, and then he has to go off into the lonely mountains because he can't stay with normal type people. Do you see the comparisons here with Logan?
But the point they show is the big ending monologue of an old man telling a small child, look, I've done too much killing, you go off and be the new generation. And immediately your brain goes, well, there's the last scene from this film, because heavy foreshadowing.
Have you seen Shane, Scott?
No.
But what annoyed me just was that it just... If that was their, foreshadowing, fine, it was a bit on the nose. But the fact that she gives that speech word for word, it's just so arbitrary. Like, if she'd watched any other film, what would that have... That was the only film she'd seen in her life, so that was the speech she gave. What if she'd seen, like, Big Mama's House 2 or something that day?
Yeah, but like,
or Lego Batman.
Batman.
It's the whole scene in general. It resonated with her, and she saw the emotion on the child's face.
But that's the thing, like, did it or did it? She can't be sure.
Well, it's the first time she's ever watched something. Like, that's what you mean.
Exactly. It could have been any film, though.
It's her first... Yeah, well, it could have been, but, like...
It was super convienient that it was...
It's a dramatic movie, so
it's
a dramatic movie, so it's not gonna be fucking Big Mama's House. Like. But, because you were talking about the scene where Patrick Stewart died, and then we kind of went off, like, I wanted to make a point.
Oh, go for it.
But you were saying that it was like a bad death, like. But I think
the death was fine. It just had an impact on me.
It had a like, because it impacted me a lot, because I feel, Logan had been pumping him full of drugs to help him forget and stop having the seizures, and
not blow the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of America.
So when he finally wakes up and he remembers and he's having the conversation, he's like, I've had such a wonderful time. I don't deserve it. I remember what I've done.
That was a good one.
And I feel like that was all really building. And then I thought it was Hugh Jackman just back in the house. And I was like, oh shit. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, it's Hugh Jackman, but it's not Hugh Jackman. I did not see the robot. I did not see the clone coming at all. And just for him to just...
kind of guessed it. So, again, just from the footage of the kind of they're building another weapon, and it's like, why aren't they showing it? No, it's what Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but I thought they were going to show it at the very end. I didn't think they were going to show it that early. You need to have like a bridge to the end. But
I suppose what got me better was it also quite depressing. It was just the old age, and that's it for all your
that's why
feats.
I loved it.
That's why
it's a tired, dusty old kind of. It's got that Western feel. He's like, I've been doing this for too long. I'm too old for this shit. Like,
I know, but as soon as he says that line, he gets killed, and the entire family is wiped out.
Yeah, that annoyed me so much.
Oh,
like,
my
look at this
God.
wholesome, perfectly nice black family. I hope they don't die horribly. Like, they have, because even the fake out when you see the trucks coming, you're like, oh, of course, but then it's just like local rednecks, and that's fine.
Yeah, but that's because they run into the local rednecks just so kind of plot conveniently to have.
Yeah, but it's a fake out kind of go, you thought we killed them all? No, we won't. Yes, we will, with Hugh Jackman.
Well, the kind of argument was that even if they hadn't killed them, the rednecks would have killed them eventually anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Any other highlights in the film for you?
Now, we were saying beforehand, Paul, you were saying the violence didn't do it for you. In a kick-assy kind of way, it did for me. Just seeing a small 8-year-old girl get harpooned through the chest the first half an hour, I was like, wow, they're not even holding back on this one. And then the big final fight at the end of her just stabbing a giant Hugh Jackman and him just kicking her around. Like, that was surprisingly full on, I thought, for 16.
That whole scene in the Mexico, what am I saying? Where the train yard.
When they get to Eden.
No. At the start, in the first half an hour,
sorry,
when she first shows who she is, and she decapitates that guy and comes out with his head and throws it in the ground. I'm like, shit's about to get real, because the trailers had kind of given away that there was going to be something going down there, and I just didn't expect her to be so.
Yeah,
like
I thought they'd do it once and then not do it again.
I everyone said for years they were like, oh, Wolverine's supposed to be like, he's using claws, he's stabbing people, there's no blood, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's. It's the X-Men, Wolverine. They showed a bit more blood in the Wolverine,
and Apocalypse.
Yeah, and I feel like this is it. Like he does. Remember the very start as well with the cholos, like when they're taking the tires off, and there's this part where he's just jabbing the guy like 5 or 6 times, and it's like, I don't know. I think Hugh Jackman's acting in that there was just perfect because it was so raw. Like I felt like he wasn't acting. He is that role. Like, he is the Wolverine, and the way he was doing it and his facial expressions. I was watching every single bit. Like, you could tell he was just so locked in that role, and that's who he is. And for him to fight those guys, and he's playing like he's tired. He actually wore a rock in his shoe. You know, like that old kind of trick for people with limps, and they put like a rock in their shoe. He did that as well. So he's fighting with like a little pebble in his shoe to make him limp, while he's like doing the action.
He couldn't remember to limp as an actor.
But I think
Daniel
it's
Day-Lewis,
you get a more authentic limp.
Yeah,
but like I think there's so many bits. Like I remember it was just like the first 5 minutes, and he's cutting guys' arms off. He's stabbing them up the mouth, and that whole stabbing through the chin up through the head, good. Like that bit. Unbelievable. Like, I'd never obviously seen anything like that in
the trailer,
but yeah, like in the R-rated trailer. But to see it with another character at the start, like all that stuff blew me away. Like,
I think that scene in isolation I would have enjoyed. The fact that it was the opening and it was just them going, "We have an R-rated look at we're swearing and there's blood." I was like, "Oh, come on!"
But it
was so like adolescent as a mature rating.
There's something different about like
killing ethnic minorities.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's the American way.
There's something different about ultra violence in movies like what kind of movie where it's different when it's a superhero movie.
I agree.
Like if I was going to watch a movie, like Green Room, and it's a bit uncomfortable when someone's getting like murdered.
No, that's some ultra violence.
Yeah, but like for some reason, and there was definitely
which murder is that?
Green Room. Remember when he puts his hand out the door and they just hack it off and like you see like hanging off, and that's horrible.
But for some reason, because it's a superhero movie, I feel a bit more. Even though it's ultra violent, because it's a superhero movie and because it's Wolverine and he's got claws coming out of his hand, I feel like I've got a filter over me that doesn't make me uncomfortable like the likes of Green Room would.
Yeah, that's been said by a few people, is that it's still as realistic as the violence in, say, a Captain America film.
But there's just blood.
There just happens to be blood in there as well.
My dad said that
because he's at such a level of fantasy within the storytelling. It is that filter that you need, that you're not going to get upset by it.
My dad said he felt like there was a lot of violence, and he was like,
Logan.
He said the same thing to me. I just said. He said
bless you,
because it's a superhero movie. He didn't feel as uncomfortable.
Yeah, he understood it was a fantasy.
Yeah, and like say, if Star Wars went R-rated, right, and you're lightsabering someone,
we call it Alien.
Yeah, like because of Alien, like I was never freaked out that much by all the gore in Alien. It doesn't have the same effect.
And the same with Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there might be a gross out in there, but it's still like the same gross that you get in a good old 80s horror movie.
He's gutting people, and it's just not the same effect. And I don't know if people feel the same way. Like my dad.
Well, with Deadpool was never serious for a second. No matter how much tragedy and death was going on, you take it with that kind of comic sensibility. Whereas Logan, you're supposed to take it a little bit more seriously, though. Yeah. You're allowed to laugh at it as well. Yeah. But I think you should be encouraged with it. It is a movie.
If you're a fan, I think you'll realize that it is the same universe, essentially. Probably not the same timeline. No one Fox, they can fucking fix their timelines to save their life. But
they don't care.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we're just making
when James Mangold handed that script in, they didn't know X-23 was a character they owned. Apparently, that's the rumor going around. They didn't know they owned that character. They went, "That's a good character. You owned that one."
For which one?
X-23. The Fox executives didn't know they owned that character.
It's mad because
James Mangold
I'd say they've gone back to the list pretty damn quick now, because don't forget, we're talking about like Mutant. What was the TV series they tried to get going?
Mutant X.
Yeah, and didn't that feature new mutant characters?
Probably.
And wasn't that Fox behind that as well?
They must have been, yeah.
I think they were, yeah.
But I think what they're going to do with these characters, they obviously introduced all these young characters, and they're the new mutants. And Xavier says
you won't see them again, though.
Not those actors, but we'll see those characters again. Richter is one of the
he's the main one. Yeah.
He's the main member of the X-Force.
No, but I think all the new movies are going to be set in that weird nebulous 80s 90s era.
God,
with
I
the
don't
new
know
cast.
what. Yeah, it's just so.
Are they talking that up? Yeah,
they're doing Phoenix, Dark Phoenix movie next. That's happening. Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
They tell me this though.
Already?
Don't Fox have to use their? Don't they have to do another Fantastic Four movie soon, or they lose the rights?
And they're going to.
They really shouldn't. They cut at the end. Cut your losses.
I love it. They can't give it back to Marvel, because as soon as they give it back to Marvel, Marvel do something good with it and then make $1 billion on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's just it.
And if you're the guy that gave it back to Marvel, you get fired. So
it's like a gigantic, very expensive game. Monopoly.
It's really funny. It's great. I can't wait to see how they fucked up next time.
And have you guys seen the other shelved Fantastic Four movies on
the Corman
YouTube?
one?
Yeah.
I've seen bits of it, not the whole thing.
Some of it's better than some of the stuff.
Oh yeah, the Doom stuff is just spot on. It's hilarious.
And I have to say, the three Fantastic Four movies aren't great, but they were passable. And like Jessica Alba is the greatest actress in the world.
I'm sensing some sarcasm here. I think.
No, she's great. She's gorgeous. Come on, that's the best. She's a great actress. She should be in all the Fantastic Four movies.
Just
all
always
of them.
playing Sue Storm across.
But yeah, so there's got to be Fantastic Four again.
Is there actually going to be another one? Because
if they don't make one, they lose the rights. They have to make one. It might be a sequel. It might be a reboot. No,
but is it? They have to make a movie every 10 years in order to obtain the rights. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see them.
It is amazing though how much control they have on what seemed to be a small pocket of the Marvel universe, but it has such a knock-on effect.
Yeah, because they own a lot of space stuff, like the cosmos.
You own the Watcher. They own. I think they own the Kree. What are the aliens called?
No, the Kree. Marvel have the Kree, but I think they have the. I forget the. What's Scott Summers' dad?
Oh yes, Mr. Corsair, is it?
Yeah, the weird space.
He's the Corsair. He is something Corsair. He's basically
the She-Ra.
Johnny Depp in space. Yeah, but the Shi'ar aliens, they're owned by.
No, they're the Fox have them as well.
Is it the She-Ra or
Shi'ar? That's right.
Shi'ar, I think.
Shi'ar is the ones from Planet Hulk. Like they're the ones.
Yeah, Fox have them,
and they're
that's so shit. Like
they're pretty kind of influential in the X-Men universe.
Yeah,
but if they get their hands on Fantastic Four, if
they got their hands back on Fantastic Four, that the Fantastic Four would show up at the end of the second
Avengers movie.
Yeah, okay. And they would, because they'd obviously went. Like, there could have been a story where they went into space and then they got lost in the space cloud, but time obviously slowed down around them, and what felt like an hour for them, they'd been lost for like 30, 40 years.
But don't forget, there's also, I mean, even though Sony have allowed Spider-Man into these films, right, and he's going to be in the Avengers ones and stuff.
He's already filming that already,
and that they got Iron Man for Spider-Man. But this whole other Sony don't have any other Marvel characters, isn't it? That's the only Marvel characters that world they have is the Spider-Man world.
This is it, like this.
But they don't own stuff like Kingpin and that.
No,
Sony's never going to make a standalone Spider-Man movie again. It's going to be in conjunction with Marvel.
Yeah,
Marvel Studios in order to share the rights.
Would it not make sense then for 20th Century Fox to loan out Fantastic Four for some kind of rights?
Well, you see, they just hate each other so much they can't at this point. Like
do they really?
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about the producers just hating each other, because it wasn't Kevin Feige was involved with
that's
Fox
right,
for a while, Avi Arad, all that.
Well, see, and they're bridging that gap now because Marvel Studios are heavily involved with Legion.
Well, they have to be. They couldn't. Yeah. They own the rights to X-Men TV, so they have to get Marvel's go-ahead to make that.
Have you guys seen that yet?
It's really good.
I watched I'm up to date.
But is it falling into that kind of that?
It's another separate universe.
But is it's got a kind of Fight Club mentality going on with it?
Yeah, there's a bit of unreliable narration. It's more like Mr. Robot.
What's that TV series? Mr. Robot.
It's more like that.
Mr. Robot's Fight Club.
No, it is. They played the same song Fight Club. They know what they're doing.
And is it?
It's more fun than Mr. Robot, though. It's very.
So is it another universe altogether? It's not acknowledging any of the.
It was supposed to be part of the current
X-Men
timeline. No, they don't mention him.
Which is weird because Xavier is supposed to be his dad.
Yeah, but his dad. Clearly, the yellow one's meant to be like she's Xavier.
Yeah, but also, I mean, depending on if you go back to the comics, there's different parentage for that character as well. In Millar. In his world, it's Moira McTaggart is the mommy. And in other worlds, I can't remember who it is. But there's a few different. I don't think Xavier's even the dad in all the versions of that character.
But he isn't in this one.
We haven't mentioned it yet. Anyone out there know different?
There's versions where he was like sent to live in Israel, I think, as well. I don't even. I'm probably wrong.
The Ultimates do some great stuff with that character because he's like a 9-year-old or 10 years. He's got the mentality of a 10-year-old, but he's about 18. It's like, kill a few people and go and get some burgers.
Why is he Scottish?
Oh, he's Scottish, yeah,
right.
big time.
Mark Miller was
and they bring Brian Braddock's sister into it and all that, Captain Britain's sis, who's got telekinesis at the ESP and all that as well.
One of the things I said that I was going to do this year was just I was going to read most of the Ultimate Universe stuff. Like now that it doesn't exist anymore, like you can go back and there is that catalog where you can eventually catch up now.
There's 100 Ultimate X-Men's. And I think that lasted longer than any of the other Ultimate comics.
Well, there was the
interesting,
Grant Morrison and Frank Wiley run.
But the new X-Men.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Grant got involved in the Ultimate stuff.
No, he just did the
And the
one,
Mark
Joss
Miller
Whedon
stuff
did
is
that.
the longest. That lasted up around 50 issues. The only reason I actually ended up getting 7 collections, so it was about 30 issues. And they're great fun. But it's kind of creepy looking back and seeing what the influence was. It was like September 11 is draped over those. And it's weird looking at it as a bit of a history.
Well, it's a darker universe, like a lot more gritty and you know, a lot more death and a lot more violence.
But and don't forget, it makes them teenagers again, which hasn't happened in the later ones.
Well, see, like
the best thing that Grant Morrison did was he brought Emma Frost into the family.
Yeah,
She's my other favorite.
I wonder why.
She's like scantily clad women.
No, they're all scantily clad.
Mutants.
She's especially scantily clad, though.
She's got attitude. No, I like Frank Quitely's artwork. I think it's gorgeous.
Brilliant.
But I've discovered a few other good artists through that Grant Morrison. But I don't know if I could read it all. I think Grant's getting too psychedelic for my liking. Continuing.
Yeah.
My favorite artist is still Steve McNiven, just because he did Civil War and he did Old Man Logan. Like they're two of my
He's
favorite.
done the new X-Men as well. Which one is? Which
he
episodes has he done?
did. He was doing the Inhumans,
Okay, I haven't
and
read
he's doing
much since.
Monsters Unleashed. He has back problems, I think, from what I know anyway, and he doesn't churn out a lot of books. But he's on one ongoing now, which is Monsters Unleashed, and he did a couple of issues for Uncanny Inhumans, which now the Inhumans are at war with the X-Men in the comics. Because
so that Marvel can kill them all off and they don't have to make them anymore.
They're like, Fox, we're not getting any of this money.
We'll let's get back onto movie track.
Yes, please.
Yes, there's just a lot.
No,
this always happens.
I'm happy with these segues.
I
learn things.
This stayed roughly on track. Like
I come here to learn.
At least
guys.
we're not talking about DC anymore. Oh, so yeah, it's Zack Snyder. Yeah.
Well, we did at the start when we talked about Batman.
Well, actually, to bring it back to Logan and reference DC, I did feel a vague similarity on the R rating to Batman Superman's R rated cut, and that like the violence, it didn't need to be R rated. It didn't add anything.
Oh, was that an R-rated cut? I didn't realize.
No, they released an R-rated cut of BVS, which adds
where a woman
practically
gets pushed in
nothing.
front of a train. Like that's it.
That's it.
Well, the bit when like Batman fucks a box at a guy, there'll be like bloody smear on the wall afterwards.
And that got an R.
Oh, he throws a guy at a wall, and there's a bloody smear on the wall as well.
The R rating and the 16 rating. The 16 rating here is different than.
Yeah, because
the
Logan's
R rating in America
like
means that anyone under 17.
In order to get an 18,
Or
I
is
think
that
here
17?
is you need nudity
That's
in it
17.
as well.
You're right.
I think an R is kind of a 16 for America.
No, but they have a restriction thing. But if you're brought in by an adult, you can go see it.
I think there was no dicks in this one, so like if there was a dick in it,
This is 16s now over here.
Yeah.
But they, see,
I'm kinda
I
surprised
do
at.
think there was something cynical about Fox going for this grittier thing based on the success of Deadpool.
they should have done it years ago.
And
Well, I think they were going to do it anyway, but Deadpool gave them the kind of, okay, this works, so let's go sell tickets.
And then someone in the marketing department kind of pointed out to them, well, just because they're under 16 doesn't mean they're not going to go and see it and pay the adult rate.
But it potentially isolates a lot of young viewers who would go see the X-Men movies with their
Parents
families.
are pretty dim, and I think kids end up getting this.
No, they get in, but I feel like if you're below a
I'll
certain
be
age...
bringing me and Nightcrawler to see it, like we're gonna go and watch it.
I was trying, because I went to yesterday, I was trying to spot any like kids in the crowd just to see where they're there, because they'd be horrified. Like
There was a few kids at the premiere of the Savoy. Oh my god, there was
it is not a kid's
I'm
film.
like, holy shit! Like there's
Like,
about 4.
12.
I'd say around like 12, 13. Like,
Well,
That's
with the
okay.
fake mustaches.
no, they're with their dads.
Three
and
of
their
them in a big
mums,
trench
like,
coat.
A lot of the people were with their families. Like,
Technically shouldn't have been here.
yeah, no,
Of course not.
And I'm just kind of like, holy shit, this is weird. Like, because a couple of kids were sitting at the front, and the first thing Wolverine does is start stabbing people.
Well, the first thing he does says fuck really loudly, and
Yeah.
that's what's people.
I think that could have easily been a 15A.
Oh, easily. 12. They didn't need to... Like, I enjoy the dismemberment and the stabbing, but I didn't
I
need
do
to be
think
there.
I do think the adult attitude towards violence and what they think kids understand are two totally different things.
Yeah, my dad made me watch Alien. I think that's the reason
I saw
why
Robocop at like 8. It's fine. You can get by it. But I mean, I just feel like this one, there was bits near the end where it didn't feel as cartoonish. It like when you have these giant burly men just like punching children in the face, like this is a bit much.
Yeah.
Come on, it worked in Step Brothers.
There
Which
was
was 16.
Remember the little fat
15.
kid running? And
Yeah, what was his superpower
That
again?
kid could
can
move.
He can run, like he can channel
Yeah.
electricity through metal. I think.
Oh, was that it?
He fried a guy with the car.
Oh, did he? And what were the other ones? There was an ice
There
kid
was an ice
there.
chick. There was a woman that controlled grass or something.
No, she could control trees. Like, I think it's nature
That was
itself.
a pretty cool superpower.
That was pretty graphic.
She
too.
blew
That
the
was-
guy up. Like, I was like, holy shit. I thought she was
but
gonna-
when they capture Pierce and they're kind of like they're freezing him and strangling him with grass and like it was all these. That was pretty graphic and weird.
Well, we saw a lot of that
creepy.
stuff on the phone earlier, and when
But that was badly framed, not well shot. This was like full on. Oh, look at this.
There was Richter, who is probably the strongest one out of the group.
He was a straight telekinesis, wasn't he?
Yeah, he can like move like.
well, how many might make it into the New Mutants?
None of them, because that universe
No.
is dead now.
No, I'd like to think that they would have done something. I was expecting them to, because the only place they were going to Canada, right?
That's another plot point.
Okay.
Right. I have an issue with this.
Canada.
Where who was going to get
Well,
them?
no, more than that. Has anyone seen the recent Resident Evil movie? There's a really stupid ticking clock.
No,
in
they
it.
haven't, Richard.
Okay, I have. I have. There's a really stupid ticking clock in it whereby they're like, look, if you don't release the cure by
blow
this exact
Canada.
second, no, every remaining human will just die. It's never explained how they'll die or why they'll die, but they will. This had a similar problem of if they get to the border, they're gone. Why? You had an illegal testing ring in Mexico. Why can't you go to Canada, Richard E. Grant? What about the border? Are the Mounties that formidable that you can't go near Canada? Like, what? I didn't understand the stakes in that last
They
bit.
were being
Well,
picked up by
do you know
a
something?
government agency. That's
It's,
why.
it's a wonderful old-fashioned cliche that goes into the mindset of Americans who ran off to Canada during the Vietnam
Yeah.
War, and they just went, "Yeah, it's a border."
But the
It's
reason
just felt too
cross over
vague.
that.
But you have helicopters.
No. The reason for this is like, and this all comes to like that scene at the little the
shack
outpost
place,
is
yeah.
there was a drone monitoring what they were doing. They were aware that they were going to be picked up by someone at the border, and like it's not a post-apocalypse at all. So there's governments in place. There's laws.
That's the thing, but he was clearly going above and beyond like legal country boundaries. I don't see why he couldn't just go in Canada and grab them.
Well, it was illegal in the US, but they're chasing them into Canada. But no one in the US government knew what was going on. I think that's why
I
they
just
were able
love
to
that
get to where they
Canada's
were.
mutant friendly.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, as well because you ever heard of Alpha Flight?
Yeah.
They're like the Canadian Avengers.
Actually, isn't that where Wolverine's origin started?
I think so, yeah.
Wolverine was originally
Wolverine's
Canadian.
Canadian. Canadian program. Yeah.
The references to the comics didn't sit with me. I thought
Oh, like
it
making
was
the
okay
comics
once.
an universe thing.
Yeah, I kind of bugged me when Wolverine gives out about comics.
But see, that's actually the first time comics have been referenced.
Is it?
Yeah,
sure.
Well, in the Avengers, like they have all the merchandise. Yeah, but like this is the first time that I've seen an actual comic book. Like there's people wearing T-shirts. There's
And
a
they were
museum.
classic Chris Claremont.
No,
Yeah,
they weren't.
They were based
No?
off it.
No,
They
because
were-
the
they-
rights
they
to
were
the actual
literally-
comic books are still at Marvel, so they couldn't
Yeah.
use any real comics. They were all like
They used a logo.
They were
they
made.
used, like, yeah, but they were freshly like they were entirely newly written, newly
They were
drawn,
props.
newly colored, newly inked ones.
Okay, was any of the artists?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't remember
actual
who did them now,
Marvel
but
artists.
it was the proper good famous X-Men artists.
Yeah, but there was a bit heavy-handed with that, and there was that little business of Eden being was it a real place, and they got it the
That
idea
was a bit
from
arbitrary and
comics,
stupid.
and that kind of went nowhere. As when we're trying to understand, she's deluded.
Well, I guess it makes sense in that if you're going to try and
And then
impossible
that-
to have
and-
a secret way
no,
out, that's what you do.
this is-
and the fat kid with the Wolverine doll at the end.
I have my
For poignancy.
I have my theory on how they knew where Eden was, and because she shared the comics with the kids, they used those coordinates as a meetup point.
No,
It's
yeah,
not
that's
a-
what it
it's
was,
not a
that's what it
legitimate
was.
thing.
Well, that was a great get out. I
Yeah,
mean, like he
because
wakes up and he's
Logan
in
didn't know,
Eden.
he didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like he didn't realize that this was a plan. Like
I don't know what he was needed for, to be quite honest. She could have got there on her own quite
she could
easily.
have ran there.
Yeah,
Like,
she could drive apparently.
yeah.
Her
But-
legs was extended, one presumes. Or she used the claws.
she knew who he was. She knew he was her
No, I know,
genetic
I know,
father.
I know.
Like I think, like because it's her first time in the real world. She'd been in a lab
Does
for
that make
13
second Hugh
years.
Jackman her uncle? Or
She should have called him.
She's like, oh Jesus!
instead
Albert,
of
what are
daddy,
you
he
doing? Like,
was Denati. DNA.
I know you get it.
Denati. Sorry, a bad joke.
There's a few
Yeah,
of them
it's a good place to end it.
it was my son was with me, and I said, "Oh look, see that cross there, Rain?" I said, "It's going to become an X in the next 2 minutes." He says, "What?"
You know,
and then he looked at me like I had superpowers. He went, "How did you know that?"
Because I
Yeah.
watched films. So.
James Mangold actually got that from the cover of a comic, an X-Men comic. I think it was like X-Men 132 or something like that. Probably wrong, but there's where Wolverine is actually crucified on a cross, but it's an X.
They
Like,
just turn him sideways.
good, but it's like he's on the X. Like, so I was like, that's where he got that from. Like,
If you go back and look at your X-Men comics again, the chances to turn things into X's, they go
Oh, yeah, I
fucking
know.
crazy. I saw it in
Batman for branding.
I saw it in New X-Men. The apparently the the Westchester School for X-Men is actually an X, and you look at it from an aerial point of view.
If you're at an angle, that was a bit cheesy. I thought this turned the second to an X. I'm like,
it
no,
they
had to
it
do
at that
it.
stage.
Like, it was the obvious last shot to do, but like,
So, Mr. Merchant as Caliban, and anything to say on that? It was a bit of a.
it wasn't really Caliban, but it was a
underused.
good performance.
It was
He
great.
was fun.
I just think they shit the bed with the Caliban in.
Well, he was a
X-Men
good
Apocalypse.
comic booky Caliban, but it wasn't a good this universe.
Referring to
whichever
yourself
one
in
it
the
is.
third person, I just don't think
See,
X-Men universe just was. It was all over the place in terms of how it wanted to be.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I want to be a superhero movie. I want to be really gritty, but I want to be really camp and superhero-y again. So he's like, Caliban knows everything. Caliban knows where the mutant is.
I love that kind of. That's why I want like a proper Doctor Doom that's like screaming about himself in the third person. That's all I want.
but
Him to
Tell me more about Caliban. I'm not as aware of him, except for the
There's not
movies.
much
He
to
can
him,
sense
yeah.
mutants. He can
But
smell
he's not.
mutants.
Is he good guy, bad guy,
Bad guy.
anti-hero?
He's a bit of both.
A bit of back and forth.
Yeah, he can track mutants, so he was tempted pretty much. It was a money thing. Like they were like, oh, we'll leave you alone if you help us track down these guys. Yeah. So obviously, at some point when he realized all the mutants were dead,
Well, that's his backstory, isn't it? He had helped hunt down half of the mutants still alive, and now he was.
Obviously the mutants who are like gluten free, who aren't drinking soft drinks and stuff. They're like, oh, how are we going to kill these guys?
It was a weird plot point.
Yeah, too bad they didn't have Cerebro. It would have sorted everyone out.
Or nuked the planet.
Yeah.
Charles near it. When I saw it yesterday, I was initially quite positive. That was good, not amazing, but good. And the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of staring on it. I don't know. I think it's weird that it was trying so hard to be a Western rather than a superhero movie, because Westerns are now in a weird twist of fate, seeing kind of high art or quite esteemed.
Well, don't forget, Mangold loves the Western.
No, I know, but like back in the day, the Westerns were the superhero movie of their day. They were the most oversaturated pop culture, like popcorny movies.
right.
And now it's come around again. It's
What I
bizarre.
wanted from this one is I wanted dialogue. I wanted to when you read a comic, you're reading it for, you've got the dialogue and you want to find out what's happened, the backstory. Like I wanted all that context. I didn't want him just slashing his way through 2 hours of film, which
it was fucking long as well.
he did he slashed his way through it, but there was that those lulls where they did talk and the characters
the
were
best
developed.
scenes are just him and Professor X just hanging out. And
Yeah, exactly.
They're very realistic too. Like Patrick Stewart plays a good dying old man.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, that was quite
Superb.
sad.
He's like some little sad old man hands and all. Like,
If he's not up for an Oscar next year, I'll be very
well,
disappointed.
no, that'd be a bit much.
Well, no, I think that the Fox should push it.
Oh, people are saying this could be the first thing at Best Picture nomination, Best Superhero Movie first. And it doesn't deserve it. Like,
no, I genuinely think
Not gonna happen.
it'll win something because
No, see what happens is the way it works is if a film wants to get on the Oscar bandwagon, it has to come out near the event so people will remember
Suicide
the
Squad
goddamn
can
thing.
win something like the Oscars. Jesus.
What did it win?
Best
Best.
makeup.
Well, which is funny because Star Trek
Make it for what?
For
just Harley Quinn's ass. Like,
no, they wrote all over Jared Leto's face.
they wrote damage.
They wrote damage,
on
show
her.
that he was damaged.
And
Best Boyer Award.
it's kind of like whoever was in the Academy there, like forgot that Star Trek had come out that year. Like,
Well, that got nominated.
yeah, but it
Just
should have
didn't
won.
Well, we know it's a kind of farcical event
Yeah,
anyway,
Jesus.
as they proved this
Well,
year.
the right film won Best Picture, but that's about it. Everything else is
While we're on Suicide Squad, any
Oh,
more?
no, we're back in
any
DC.
more-
We did it.
I don't
We did
even-
it. We did it.
Go on, see you later.
We did it.
No, one final Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
A question: is Mel Gibson going ahead with Suicide Squad 2?
I kind of hope he does because I watched Hacksaw Ridge and the first half is shy, but the second big battle scene is really well done.
No, but I know. But the thing is, I heard that there was a lot of phone-ins on that battle scene, and he might have planned it, but he wasn't there in the day for a lot of
I
stuff.
don't care if he wasn't there. Like,
But
it's
also,
good.
I mean, if you think
that
Logan was
editor
violent, if you think,
Oh, Jesus,
can you
there was
imagine
legs
Gibson
galore.
on Suicide Squad?
But
There won't be a
It'd be
finger
amazing.
left in anyone.
Everyone keeps saying, Jeff Johns is going to be more involved in the DC
Yeah,
universe
we'll see.
now, but like
he has to
they're-
run the comics as well.
they were saying, he was involved in the reshoots and stuff like that, and I'm like, all right, well, if he was involved in the reshoots, then he's clearly fucking incompetent when it comes to doing the movies because that
Well,
was
like,
The
there's only-
issues were the only good part. We just don't know which is which.
No, but there's only so much you can salvage from that.
well,
from
the
reshoots.
it was the cut of the movie that was so bad. Like when I only found this out, it was the company that cut the trailer.
Well, there were
cut
several
the-
different cuts
Yeah,
at one point.
and they were like, oh, that's why like the first 20 minutes is all like neon lights and everything, and I'm like, all right, okay, because that when we talked about Suicide Squad, I talked about the pacing and I talked about the fact that it trailed off after a really good opening and it just got shit really like all of a sudden. So I don't know.
If I had been recutting that, I would have started in the middle.
I would have fucking
flashback the fuck out of it.
I think that was the original idea,
city.
though.
What?
I think that was the original idea, was something like that.
I think
like a Deadpool.
Why are we here?
I imagine Suicide Squad opened with the very end, and they're kind of all sitting in the bar, and they're like, "Jesus, that was tough." And then we're like, "You probably want to know how." And Margot Robbie like addresses, like breaks the fourth wall, and she's like, "You're probably wondering how we all got here," kind of thing. And she's like, "Well, let me tell you about it." But she's being Harley Quinn,
and Will Smith raps the opening to Friends of Bel-Air,
or something like that.
Look, we can sit here for 5 hours discussing better Suicide Squad movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we should. But one quick...
You can't discuss how to make Logan better. Fuck that.
But at what point were the Batman inserts supposed to be in the movie? Were they a late mover?
No, I think they were there from early on. Because I remember seeing the onset.
The Batman inserts, were they always intended?
I think they were. Maybe, but,
I think they were like, oh shit, this movie's going to tank. We need
so,
more Batman.
okay, well then we might as well have a quick chat about what do we think of the director for the Batman movie?
Who is it now?
Matt Reeves.
Drew 5 of them. Matt Reeves, yes.
After,
good choice.
Will he, won't he? Like,
no, he will now.
He's definitely signed on for it now.
I think the Affleck was really funny though. Like you just see it. If you watch like kind of cuts of interviews from the last year and a half, it's him getting visibly more and more pissed off being asked to be a Batman, to the point that he was allegedly thinking about quitting the like acting gig as well. I wouldn't have blamed them. That'd been really funny if they were down a Batman, the best thing in the universe so far.
Yeah, but don't forget he's had a dud with his Live by Night movie as well.
I thought that movie was brilliant. I don't know.
I didn't see it.
And the entire press tour was people going, "So you reckon the Batman?" Talk about the movie I'm in.
What has Matt Reeves done besides Cloverfield and Let Me In and the 8 movies?
Like, I don't know. I think based off that alone, like I think he'll.
I mean, Cloverfield I like, and not so much for.
Oh, the Planet 8 movies are great though.
Well, think about what James Gunn did before Guardians of the Galaxy, though.
He didn't do the first one; he did the second one. I didn't buy into the second one. No,
there was monkeys on horseback with machine guns. It was great.
I'm a purist about Let the Right One In. I don't think Let Me In is any good.
No, it's not anywhere near as good, but it's still a perfect. I think it's much better than it could have been. I was surprised how solid that movie was in the end.
It's solid.
It is solid. Like it's not shit. It's not the Carrie remake.
I know.
Carrie
he's not
remake
going
is
to make
fucking
a shit
awful.
movie.
But think about like someone who gets a proper if they get creative control over their movie. Like James Gunn did Slither and he did Super and then he did Guardians of the Galaxy. Or he did.
Oh,
Super!
There's an already movie.
I think Slither's got some nice stuff in it.
It's a great movie, but
don't forget who's in that. Who's in that? That's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Rooker.
Yeah, he's in everything he does.
He's pretty much.
I have to say,
Slither as well. Sean Gunn as well.
I'm excited about Volume 2.
I'm gonna shit myself when it comes out. Like I'm so excited for it. Like it's
all right. Yeah.
I like the new trailer. The new trailer. If they keep that kind of level of silliness in the film itself and can maintain that, because there's almost a little kind of dare I say it, not Barbarella, but that kind of European sci-fi kind of feel about it. Yeah. It's a kind of glossy and kind of it's not trying to be too serious. If you can maintain that tone, it'd be a really nice film.
Now they have Kurt Russell in it.
Well,
holy shit! Like,
I'm your boss.
But they're saying that he won't show up in Planet form. Which, why bother getting Ego's Living Planet? I want to see Kurt Russell's giant face in space.
A good portion of the movie is in.
Still learn about the Guardians. I don't get who they are. I tried to buy one of the comics and I went back and it was gone.
I'll get you one.
But it goes back to 1968.
No, I'll get you one of the most.
Yeah, but the current iteration is fairly recent.
So the adaptation that you want to get is the Brian Michael Bendis.
Is that from the 90s or the 80s?
No, this is from late 2000s. Like I'd say 2000.
And this is the one that they're riffing off for the movie.
It's pretty much it was what was going on before the movie came out. So it's like the new version of Star-Lord, his origin originally in the comics. It's Jason of Spartax, which is his father in the comics. It's the origin story. It's him coming to Earth. Like his ship's crashed. He's injured. He meets Star-Lord's
I've read a
wife.
bit of that. All right, a little bit of that. Okay, cool. That'd be great.
So yeah,
I like the look of it. I think that's the next one out. What's the next one we're going to be doing for
Guardians?
The podcast, isn't it?
Wonder Woman.
It's Guardians.
No,
Alien.
it's Guardians. I think it's July.
If we're gonna do movies,
or Spider-Man first,
it'll be Guardians, Alien, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman.
Oh, we're going to do Alien,
and Black Panther's out in July as well. If we don't do one for Alien, I don't know what.
No,
I'm
Black
doing
Panther's.
Well, we will. I'm happy to.
I'm so excited for it. I'm reading up on all the comics for Alien at the minute, so I'm reading like Prometheus, Life and Death. Like
I read Fire and Stone.
Yeah, I'm going to read Fire and Stone.
So far, Alien Covenant just looks like a remake to me.
Yeah, but every Alien's the same movie. They're all the same film every time.
Did you know like I always wanted to know what happened to the Deacon after the derelict, the ship left at the end of Prometheus. But do you want to know what happened?
Yeah,
Is he not on this planet?
You know the little alien that was left at the end of Prometheus?
What do they call them? What's the name
Deacon.
for them?
He was called the Deacon.
No, there wasn't the name for them architects.
Oh, the engineers. The
Engineers.
Guys.
He came out of the dead engineer.
Oh yes, sorry.
So I was super curious to know what happened because I was like, that was never referenced.
Is this Fire and Stone or Life and Death?
I can't remember which
The
one.
Red Fire and Stone, I don't recall that being addressed.
I think it might be Life and Death.
Okay.
So it was 122 years later. A ship is on a routine salvage mission. So there's a beacon still going off that they're only getting to now because obviously it takes so long to get around everywhere. And what happens? Yeah, so it turns out that the salvage is the wreckage of the Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that the wreckage is inside a mountain, and they're like, oh well, this mountain wasn't here on the original maps from when they first scanned the planet. And it's this big ass mountain. So they're going into the mountain, and there's all this structure in it. It's obviously going by the Geiger kind of structure, like in Aliens, where the hallways are all looks like rib cage. But it turns out it's the fucking Deacon. The Deacon is the mountain. It got to the black.
I've read this. Yeah,
it got to the black goo, and the black goo was its food source, and it caused it to mutate.
Kind of living structure.
Yeah, it mutated to the point where it grew and became this fucking mountain structure thing. And I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's crazy.
But it's not really canon, though.
It's not really canon. It's Dark Horse. Really, they own all the rights to the.
They do, but that won't be addressed in Covenant. They won't go, hey, look at that giant living mountain over there.
I hope they.
Yeah, don't forget we've had the Predator world is still creeping into the alien world now as well.
Yeah, not really.
Well, they've just cast they've cast everyone from the new Predator movie.
versus aliens.
Yeah, that.
There's Archie the Punisher and
Comics.
Archie and the Predator and Archie with zombies.
I just came
Judge
across
Dredd versus Aliens versus Predator. Yeah, everything. But yeah, there's loads. But that for me, I always wanted to know, and I don't know if they'll reference.
They won't. Because that Fire and Stone thing, the Predators show up in that, so they can't.
Yeah, Elizabeth Shaw is just dead. She died of old age.
Which one is that? The Naomi character?
Yeah, she died.
But she's
apparently she's
in
going to turn
Covenant,
up in
though.
this.
I don't know what she's going to be in. I think
because originally she was going to be, then she wasn't going to. Then she said, "No, I'm in it." So
did she film a scene?
She's going to be a little
Yeah,
old lady on the planet telling them to go.
I'd say it'll be just a video screen of her showing up for a minute.
I think that's what it's going to be because it's going to be filmed by David.
Yeah,
and David's all going to
the head in a bag,
and they haven't even showed him yet because he's all fucking stitched together.
We're talking about Fassbender 1 and Fassbender 2.
1. So David's going to be all. I think he's pretty much. She will have spent her time rebuilding him, but I think she doesn't. I don't think she's going to live to old age. I think part of the reason being is because they've already referenced it in the trailer. The fact that there's no animals. I don't know unless she's the one who planted the wheat. And she was able to survive off that, and then ended up being killed by Xenomorph or something like that. I don't know. I'm just excited. There's so much to.
Yeah, but how's we're in prequel world now? Yeah, we're not going to get into sequel world with these.
They're going to jump into.
Ridley Scott said, "Yeah, it's 2 more movies for Alien."
Yeah, and then they're going to jump past.
Before they're up to date with Alien.
Well, what was the last Alien film? It was
4 Resurrection.
The Frenchy one.
Yeah.
by Genet and and they were heading towards planet Earth.
Well, they got to Earth. They're not going. They won't sequel that one. They were maybe going to do that Neil Blomkamp, which would have been a side.
I thought it was that was a nice silly pulp film. That was.
I was looking forward to the Neil Blomkamp.
If you don't think of it as an Alien movie, it's actually good fun.
What one?
The 4th one.
Joss Whedon wrote.
Yeah, Joss Whedon wrote that. That's right. Firefly in Alien. He's even got the feisty little robot lady character, doesn't he? But yeah, Logan. Final mention maybe to Aliens. Bill Paxton. Poor bugger, only a young 65-year-old or less. 61.
Yeah, it's such a shame.
One of the funniest things in Aliens.
Everyone was posting it on social media. He was the only guy to be killed by the alien,
Terminator, and Titanic.
Hey, these things are worth remembering. And he only directed one film ever, which was a very creepy horror film.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. It was interesting because it was, I can't even remember the name, but it's basically a farmer who may be either gone demented or really seen the devil. I think he directed it and started it. That's a long time ago, and it went straight to video.
Of course it did.
Per bill.
But
Logan.
okay, so are we wrapping up there, guys? Any final words? Go and see Logan for yourselves, everybody.
Yeah, it's worth
It's
seeing.
definitely
once,
worth sitting down to.
With comic book movies, I think it's hard for me to have like a real structured opinion, just because I get
That's
so
come across, Scott.
I get so excited about everything, like, you know. But I
wish I shared that.
I remember going to see Fantastic Four and just wanting to walk out. I was like, "This is fucking dog shit, man!" And like, I was at the premiere, and the people from
Now,
Fox,
which one, Trank or the original?
the Trank one.
Okay.
But I was at the premiere for that one, and the people from Fox were like, "Oh, what'd you think?" And I was like, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, what's up?"
But you know, they only ask you that question when they know it's shit. They won't ask you that question if the film's good.
And,
they just confidently walk away.
We do the promotions in the store for like the movies. We put the stuff in the windows, and I remember just going, "I don't even want to promote this movie." I was like, "This is terrible."
Well, I have it.
Was there a toy line?
I tried to watch it.
No.
Tried to watch
Fox
it
don't have
twice,
rights.
and it cracks the head. It's just so away from the original, even the original '60s stuff, which is great fun. Yeah. I mean, I don't know I haven't read the Ultimate Fantastic Four. That's the only other kind of new origin.
I've been reading the most, not the most recent, the second most recent run. Is it Remender's run?
It's an iconic comic. It totally turned things upside down. It is the one that marked a whole new attitude towards human beings with powers, and gave them. You knew these people ate food and went to the toilet now and again, unlike Superman, who just went in and out of phone boxes,
like your own father did back in the day.
Only on Sundays, not for a few pints. But you're making that phone, the phone booth joke. Superman the movie has a wonderful phone booth joke.
Yeah,
that involves Superman not going into the phone box because you can't. Because back in the 70s, there were these little stand ones.
Oh yeah.
Well, that joke is in.
But he kind of looks at it and he kind of goes,
The guy made that joke in the Deadpool thing. He's like, "Why is there a phone booth here? I thought they were gone like 20 years ago." So it's very self-aware.
It's actually a fallacy to say that Superman was always jumping into phone booths. I think he went into the closet.
Oh, indeed, yes.
the Daily Planet closet more often than he went into any phone booth. And don't forget, he had a little micro suit that could be squashed down to about 2 inches and put into a little flap on his.
Oh my god!
I love all that early 56.
No.
So what's he doing with a suit after he takes it off?
What if you lost it? Like, what happens if you just drop it on the floor and you're like, everyone's like, "What are you looking for? I'll find it." And he's like, "That's my tiny suit." You're like, "Oh Jesus!"
And does he have underwear on under his underwear?
I just think the underwear
or his overwear.
Because he had a belt through his little pants. I don't know. Overwear?
Well, that was like an old wrestling thing, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
No, it's strongman of the Victorian Circus.
Yeah.
And on that note,
yes.
Thank you for listening.
If you did.
Whoever you are, John. And we'll be back soon enough, I hope.
With something.
I take it we're going to be back. And please, postcards and comments and anything you'd like to hear about, or if you think we rattle on too much, give us some notes. We'll gladly take them.
I want to know if people want to know. I want to know if people want us to structure it more, because
I think we did well this time to a certain point.
Goodbye, guys. We'll see you after we've seen Guardian of the Galaxy.
Or whatever's next.
Thank you very much, guys. Good night and goodbye.
You think you're my greatest enemy?
Yes! You're obsessed with me!
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are! Who else drives you to one-up them the way that I do?
Bane.
No, he doesn't.
Superman.
Superman's not a bad guy.
Then I'd say that I don't currently have a bad guy. I am fighting a few different people.
What?
I like to fight around.